Hi. BC ratio is one of the economics analysis that we use for public projects. So whenever we have a public project, we use the BC ratio. In the BC ratio, it's finding the benefit of a project and compare that to the cost. We divide the benefit by the cost. In order to find the benefit and the cost for a project, we have to make sure that these benefit and costs and other parameters like this benefits and maintenance and operational cost are on the same time frame, which means that we have to make sure that these parameters are all in present format, annual format, or future format. Let's take an example to see how we could solve the BC ratio for this question. A local government of a city in Minnesota is considering 4 alternatives for a water supply plant. Each alternative has unique requirements. The following table, which is this table right here, summarizes the parameters for all alternatives. Using interest rate of 5%, 30 years for lifetime, calculate the modified BC ratio analysis and which alternative we should select. First thing what we do is to list the parameters that are given. As you see, we have initial cost or equipment cost, maintenance and operational cost per year, annual benefit. So as you look, you need to make a decision on what time frame. Are you going to use the present as the baseline for your calculation, annual worth as your baseline for your calculation, or the future for your base of calculation? It seems that from the table you see that 2 parameters are in the A format, annual format. Therefore, it would be really nice to just convert the equipment cost to annual format. And in this column right here, we calculate the annual format for the present worth of equipment cost. And I used here PMT function. So I did add PMT function 0.05, which is the interest rate, 30 years, and the initial cost. And make sure to reverse this function, because we need to have in the BC ratio, we have to have all positive numbers in the equation. And did same thing for alternative 2, alternative 3, and alternative 4. Again, what we do here, we use the PMT function to calculate the equivalent of this present worth, for example, of the 6.5 million. What would be the equivalent? The next step, since we're talking about the modified BC ratio, we're going to use this equation. BC would be the annual worth of benefit minus the annual worth of this benefits, which we don't have any this benefit in this question, minus the maintenance and operational cost divided by the annual worth of cost. So starting with the first one, net benefits would be the benefit 900,000 minus the maintenance and operational cost. For second alternative, we do the same thing, benefit minus the maintenance and operational cost. Alternative 3 the same, alternative 4 is the same as well. Now we're going to use these 2 columns, these 2 rows, to conduct the BC analysis. However, we need to conduct, because we do have more than 2 alternatives, 2 or more alternatives, we have to use the incremental analysis. So we rank the alternative based on the initial cost from low to high, and that would give you the first one to consider is alternative 3. This is the lowest initial cost, then alternative 1, then alternative 2, and then alternative 4. And then you start with the first 2 alternative that has the lowest initial cost. That would be 1 and 3. And then in order to do the incremental analysis, we subtract the higher cost minus the lower cost. In this question, we have alternative 1 has the higher cost, so we do the incremental analysis based on 1 minus 3, or alternative 1 minus alternative 3 for the initial cost, and the same thing for the net benefit. We subtract 450 minus the 400,000, and then we calculate the BC ratio by dividing the benefit by the cost, and that would give you 1.39. Based on the incremental analysis, what we do, we use this function, we use this rule of thumb on which one to select. If the BC ratio higher than 1, which is this is what we have, we select the higher cost alternative. So we go, which one has the higher cost? We select alternative 1. Alternative 3 is eliminated, it's out of the game, so we're going to keep 1. So now in the game 1, 2, and 4. Now let's move on to the next higher initial cost, which is 2. And you know that 2 is having the higher initial cost, so we subtract 2 from 1 for the initial cost, and the same thing for the net benefit. You subtract the net benefit for 2 minus the net benefit for alternative 1, and then divide the benefit over the cost to find what would be the BC ratio. We have 3.2. Again, going back to this rule of thumb, if it's BC higher than 1, then we select the alternative that has a higher initial cost, and we eliminate the alternative that has a lower initial cost. In this case, we eliminate 1 and we select 2. Now that would leave us with 2 alternatives, 2 and 4, and we do an incremental analysis the same way. Excuse me. Then so we subtract 4 minus 2 because 4 has the higher initial cost, and the same thing for the net benefit. 700 minus the 700, that would be 0, and that would result in a 0 BC ratio, which is less than 1, and therefore we select the alternative that has a lower initial cost, and alternative. As a result, we select alternative 2 as the best alternative for this for the water supply plant. Alternative 2 is the best because it will give us the best option in between all of the 4. Thank you. I hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any question. Thanks.